Today on Comicstorian, Deadpool's going to be called in to kill Deadpool. This is the Comicstorian channel where I take some of your favorite trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. I take out all of the fluff and the B plots and we tell you exactly what is going on in the storyline of your favorite comic book, present some of the artwork that we alter to avoid copyright problems, and then we just let you know what's happening in the world of comics. This allows you, if you choose to go to your local comic book store or buy it digitally to add to your collection and get more context and more of the art. Today we're going to be doing the last of our remakes of the Deadpool trilogy. Basically, in the first of these stories, Deadpool gets a new voice that informs him he should kill the Marvel Universe. He then decides he's going to go into classic literature and kill all of those individuals. And at the end of that storyline, he found himself awash in the multiverse, all over the place, trying to figure out how to prevent himself from ever being created, a way to permanently kill himself. Which leads us to the story, Deadpool Kills Deadpool, which is this one. I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get into the story. This may be hard for you to stomach, Deadpool tells Headpool as he walks across the room, ignoring the mess around him. But I'm not a heartless monster, he explains as he puts Headpool into the microwave, hitting the button, asking if the zombie head understands what he is doing. Sure, I speak fluent raging psychopath, Headpool explains, trying to nod his head but without a neck. Deadpool then puts the head into the microwave, hitting the button, drawing screams of protest from Headpool as he begins to cook. He continues to protest all the way up to the moment he explodes. Deadpool then opens up the door, pushing down his vomit as he stares at the mess. You are dead, but living too, and that's not how this works. Dead is dead, for each of us. If you weren't turned inside out right now, you might be appreciating this, Deadpool tells him. He reaches down and hits his teleporter switch, disappearing, leaving behind the mess. Meanwhile, over at the real Marvel Universe, Deadpool leaps through the air, firing his weapons at the Ultimatum soldiers that continue to attack, claiming that he knew that Ultimatum was a problem, but nobody wanted to listen to him. Hey look, here we are. Everyone else was too busy to help out, so that leaves good old Wade, he says as he leaps amongst them and continues to fire, but he looks up just in time for the giant Ultimatum robot to grab him and swing him through the air, slamming him hard into the ground and stomps away, continuing to destroy the city. Deadpool struggles to his feet, turning and seeing a young mother and her son. He turns, ordering them to stay where they are until he can distract the robot. He pulls out his sword, leaping through the terrorists, jumping at the robot, knowing that he just needs to hold it off until the Avengers show up. The robot reaches down, grabbing him again, but Deadpool looks up and his eyes widen. You know that cavalry I talked about? Well, here they come, at Mach 5! He shouts, the ship slamming into the giant robot. It slams it into a nearby building, toppling it to the ground. Deadpool then gets to his feet, surprised to see the ship has his symbol on the front. That ship! It's the B. Arthur! The ship belongs to the Deadpool Corps! He shouts as members of the Corps step out into the open. Deadpool thanks the others for helping and pushes off Dogpool as the canine leaps on him, tail wagging. He then walks towards the group, greeting Lady D and Kidpool. Who are you guys? He asks the other two, and they both respond in unison, I'm Deadpool! Deadpool puts up his hands as they begin to argue with each other. Yeah, I get it. Everyone thinks that they're the genuine article. He then finally turns to Lady D, asking what's going on, and she nods, explaining that they weren't sure that they'd find him alive. The Deadpools are being targeted. She can't explain any more and motions him towards the B. Arthur, telling him that they are now out of time. But Deadpool tells them that he can't go, that he's a hero now with responsibilities. And Kidpool turns back to him. Come on, man! The Avengers, they ain't gonna give you a medal! He calls, and Deadpool looks down in sadness. Yeah, you're right. Cue the sad Hulk theme song. He sighs as he climbs into the B. Arthur, with the pulpy Deadpool calling for him to hurry, but he's cut off as a blast rips through him. Oh, that's gotta hurt. Who's next? A black-suited Deadpool calls from above as he descends on a Deadpool glider. Deadpool leaps out of the way from another blast, pulling out his sword, but the glider screams towards him as he prepares for an attack. Who's this guy? Is he the one giving you guys so much trouble? He slashes through him with his blade, cutting through the glider, sending the Deadpool to the ground. But as he goes to finish him off, the black-suited Deadpool suddenly body slides away. Talk about a buzz! Yeah! Deadpool screams as a chainsaw sword suddenly cuts through his chest. Chainsaw sense! Tingling! He gasps, and the black-suited Deadpool raises his weapon preparing to fire, but Dogpool leaps into the laser blast, saving Deadpool. Deadpool manages to leap up, grabbing the black-suited Deadpool's wrist. "You killed the dog! What an ass!" he shouts, reaching for the wrist teleporter, banking on their speech patterns being the same. "Body slide! By half!" He snaps, and half of the assassin suddenly disappears, but the rest of his body falls to the ground. Deadpool laughs as he picks up the assassin's ray gun, shooting him with what he assumes is an anti-regeneration ray. "Let's go. There's gonna be others," Lady D calls from the B. Arthur. Deadpool nods, jumping into the ship, and as they take off, Lady D explains, "The Deadpools are at war." Deadpool joins them on the bridge, demanding that they explain what is going on, and a voice calls out from around the corner. "I shall tell you, Wade Wilson." Deadpool turns to see a Watcher standing behind him, wearing a Deadpool hat, and Deadpool is number 1, big foam finger. "I am the Watcher, and I have witnessed a slaughter against you and your counterparts from across the multiverse, verse. He bellows. Deadpool, of course, isn't fazed, merely asking why someone would want to kill the comic relief. But Watcher looks at him, explaining that the end of all existence has begun, and that Deadpool is the progenitor of all things. Meanwhile, in another reality, the city is smoking, it is in ruins, and the leader of the evil Deadpools steps forward, thanking all of the Deadpools that have gathered before him, those that do his work throughout the multiverse, and he thanks them for their devotion, but warns that someone has betrayed them to the rebellion. All of the Deadpools begin to look at each other in suspicion, and the King Deadpool explains that if the traitor doesn't step forward, he will merely kill all of those that have gathered in attendance. Everyone suddenly turns their heads, staring at the Deadpool with a beard of bees. "Wait, why is everyone staring at me? You don't think it's old bee Poolbeard, do ya? Why do you think I'd betray you?" But a gun is placed against the back of his head as evil Deadpool smiles. "I'd give you a chance to plead your case, but that wouldn't be evil enough." The mismatched, severed limbs of Deadpool, that is evil Deadpool, says with a smile. As the other Deadpools begin to disperse, King Deadpool comes down, greeting his most trusted allies. And he quickly explains that they have located the rebel cell and that Deadpool is with them. "Should have known. Dumbass was always trying to fit in with the good guys," evil Deadpool says with an evil, mismatched smile. Meanwhile, the B. Arthur continues to rumble through the multiversal space and time area. As Deadpool begins to ponder if the ship will fall out of the sky, he turns back to the Watcher, asking him to continue the explanation. And the Watcher nods. He explains that on one of many worlds, Deadpool was driven mad and realized that he was nothing more than a fictional character that was used to entertain the others. Believing that he had to end the suffering of others, he set out to murder all of those within his world, and eventually the entire multiverse itself. That's when he moved into the Ideaverse, hoping to kill the very ideas that gave birth to his world to begin with. His goal was to draw out the progenitors, but nothing ever seemed to happen. As he floated through the very Ideaverse itself, he came to the conclusion that if he was the only one who knew that the world was fictional, then perhaps he was the source. So he decided that if all worlds must die, so must all Deadpools. "Okay, seriously? That plan takes a seriously messed up kind of crazy," he tells the Watcher. The piloting Deadpool suddenly turns, shouting for them to hold on as the B. Arthur crosses into another reality, and they break through, slamming into the ground hard outside of a carnival. "Nice driving, Miss Daisy!" Deadpool groans on the floor, and as the core steps off the ship, Deadpool points out that hiding in the carnival is like hiding in the one place that all Deadpools would hide. But it is the Watcher that points out that they are hiding in plain sight as he walks through the carnival towards the big tent. "Okay, what's with this guy? Seems a little fanboy about us, Lady D." The Watcher then turns to answer the question, explaining that he was tasked with observing the various Deadpools of the multiverse. "I've developed an appreciation for all things related to the merc with the mouth," the Watcher states as he holds up his big foam finger, and Deadpool nods. In other words, he spent a little too much time watching us and went mushy between the ears. He whispers, and they continue to walk towards the tent, with Deadpool questioning how the assassins are managing to even kill off the Deadpools. Kidpool nods and begins to list off the various ways that they can kill Deadpool with healing factors. They all stop as they push open the flap and are shocked by the sight of all of the dead Deadpools. "They found us!" Lady D shouts as she rushes forward to Motorpool, their mechanic. Kidpool rushes to another, pulling out a sword so that the Deadpool can regenerate, but as the body shifts, he hears a click behind it. "Oh, that's not fair! I managed to dodge the Avengers Arena bullet only to be taken out by this?" He sighs, and Deadpool pushes the others towards the entrance, screaming for them to get out. "Dogpool, old buddy, I'm right behind you, Kidpool whispers as the explosion throws the others clear as it disintegrates the tent. Deadpool struggles to his feet, looking up to see the evil Deadpool and several other pools all around him. Evil me from my universe, the one that was made up of mixed-matched parts of me that fell off and got frozen in a freezer and then reassembled themselves in a dumpster? You're mixed up in this too? He asks, and evil Deadpool just snorts with laughter. I'm patched together from all your severed parts! Wait, of course I'm mixed up! But we're all involved. Every flavor of Deadpool. We're the creators of the universe, and we're gonna burn it all down, and that means choosing sides! He explains. Deadpool puts up his hands, asking if they can just talk it over. Over chimichangas! This unit does not like chimichangas, a robotic Deadpool points out. And Deadpool turns, looking at him. Not a fan of Mexican food? You die first, knave! He snaps, with Pandapool suddenly rushing and roaring as he attacks the robotic Deadpool. The other Deadpools all gather and launch at each other in a massive splash page of violence. Lady D attacks Spiral Pool, Panda Pool fights off Cesspool, while a nameless Deadpool fights off with Wolverine Pool, and as they continue to battle, the Watcher turns to the readers telling them, the true nature of war is to struggle against one's true self. Hey, big, bald, and beautiful! Deadpool shouts as he has the evil Deadpool in a headlock. Are you gonna stand there and shout all day, or are you gonna help us? Both of the Deadpools shout in unison, and Deadpool turns down to his evil version, shocked as he throws the mismatched villain away, stalking towards the Watcher. Hold on a sec! You're a double agent? The Watcher shrugs, explaining that he's just a fan of all Deadpools, and he couldn't pick a favorite. You're all just so cool. But Deadpool grabs him by the robe, explaining that the choice should be easy, since one of them is trying to destroy all of existence. But they suddenly stop as it begins to rain blood on all of them. What? It's raining now? Deadpool says as he turns around to see the evil Deadpool dancing and singing in the blood rain as Wolverine Pool holds up the nameless Deadpool by his claws. Deadpool pulls out his sword and leaps forward, slashing through the evil Deadpool, knocking him to the ground, but the villain just smiles. I was ready to die when I got here. This is a suicide mission. He explains as he points off in the distance where Galactus Pool reaches for them. Where does he get these guys? Deadpool asks as he scratches his head, but Galactus Pool reaches forward, with Deadpool turning back to his evil twin, kicking him in the head, twisting his neck around. Go ahead, destroy the world. I still have plenty of time to kick your ass! He shouts, and he reaches down and begins to strangle evil Deadpool, but the villain just looks at him. Stop trying to be the good guy! It's your fault that the world turned out like this! You, me, we're all responsible! He shouts, and Deadpool begins to squeeze his neck as the evil Deadpool explains that if he wants to be a good guy, he should lay down and die! Not my style. Deadpool says as he jams his fingers into the evil Deadpool's eye, bringing out screams of pain. He then drops him as he reaches for his fallen gun. Don't be such a baby. It'll grow back. He then lifts the gun, shooting the evil Deadpool in the head. The rest of the Deadpools continue to fight as the world shakes all around them, with Galactus Pool beginning to devour the world in the distance, and Lady D is about to be sucked away as she reaches for anything. Could someone give me a hand? She shouts, but she's shocked that she is saved by the Watcher who reaches out for her. Yes, Wanda Wilson, I realize that I must choose a side, and I cannot stand by while you meet your doom, because you are my favorite, he tells her. She nods, admitting that once that may have sounded weird, as she walks away. Come on, let's go make sure you didn't save me for nothing, she tells him. She walks across the field, finding Deadpool, continuing to kick the crap out of the bloody pile that was once evil Deadpool. And that's for issue 49! He shouts as he kicks again, looking up as Lady D whistles for him to join her. He breathes heavily as he looks down at the corpse. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere! The remaining Deadpools gather around Lady D as she pulls a chain out to reveal their armory. She begins to toss Deadpool weapons, explaining that he'll need them for the fight ahead. This is the last of the good stuff, so make it count, she tells him, and he nods, cradling his pile of weapons as he points out that Deadpool's killing Deadpools was such a waste. Save your tears, big guy, she tells him, and they step back outside as the world continues to shift around them. Galactus Pool growing closer. Though this world dies, know that I do suffer, for a minute on the lips doth equate to a lifetime on the hips, he bellows. And Deadpool looks back at Lady D, questioning why she would say that Deadpool will need the new gear since she's coming with him. She grabs the Watcher, kissing him on his large mouth before turning and running towards the B. Arthur. She is doing what she knows must be done, the Watcher explains to them all, sadness in his large eyes. Lady D sits in the cockpit of the B. Arthur, hitting the controls to take off. All right, old girl, let's show you what you've got. Shoot straight for once, she whispers as the ship rockets towards Galactuspool, the ship exploding in his face and the mighty giant toppling to the ground, everyone staring in shock. Deadpool reaches out for the Watcher's arm, demanding to know what they should do next. The Watcher turns to him, explaining that they must find the nexus of all realities for this world. None of you are going anywhere! We're not done yet! Evil Deadpool calls as he struggles towards the group, a sword in hand, and Spiral Pool crawling beside him. Pretty Deadpool died for nothing! How's that sound? The villain coughs, but Deadpool just smiles. Sounds to me like things are looking up. Evil Pool looks up in surprise as the shadow falls across him and he's squashed as Galactuspool's head lands on him. Deadpool then pauses for a moment, turning back to the Watcher. You were saying? The Watcher throws up his hands, using his cosmic powers to teleport them to the Savage Lands, hoping to find the nexus of all realities here. You know this is where heroes go to get eaten by dinosaurs, right? Deadpool asks him as he readies his weapons, looking around, and as they move through the jungle, they are shocked to discover that the nexus has been drained dry. So what does that mean? We're stuck here? Deadpool asks as he shifts through the sand, but Watcher shakes his head, explaining that the nexus requires a cost. Although, this will be more costly than I imagine. But a voice calls out to them, promising to make the cost stress-free. And Deadpool looks up to see Deadpool the Duck, Deadpool Dinosaur, and Deadpool. If you want to live to see another day, you're gonna have to cut through us, Quack! Though I gotta warn ya, we cut back! Deadpool the Duck quacks at him. The Deadpools all begin to attack each other, but Deadpool the Duck doesn't stand a chance, and Deadpool quickly snaps his neck, moving on to Deadpool Dinosaur as Pandapool rips through the flying MODOK version of Deadpool. As they continue to fight, the Watcher turns to the reader. Witness, dear reader, and tremble! He begins, but Deadpool interrupts him as he walks back out of the jungle. You don't think they know what they're seeing? You don't need to narrate, he tells the Watcher, and he reaches down for the anti-regeneration ray, shooting the Deadpool corpses, pointing out that the universe has a weird sense of humor for making these versions of Deadpool. But Watcher points out that maybe Deadpool himself is creating them with his cosmic powers. Deadpool's eyes widen as he scratches his head. Crisis of infinite Deadpools! He gasps quietly, but the Watcher nods, pointing out that if King Deadpool has the power to shape reality, then so does this Deadpool. Deadpool shakes his head. Face it, Baldy, I'm not wired for creation. I'm good at one thing, killing chumps. He explains, but the Watcher nods, explaining that Deadpool will get his chance as he prepares to send him to another world. And how exactly are you gonna do that, Chuckles? The nexus of all realities on this mudball is exhausted. Deadpool points out, but the cosmic energy begins to swirl around the Watcher as he explains that to reopen the nexus will require great cosmic energy. I've learned much by observing you, Wade Wilson, and if I am to live, to die, then I shall do it with a panache of Deadpool. I shall play by my own rules, with a chorus of Joe Esposito, Journey, and Whitesnake ever present in my brain, he says as the cosmic energy begins to expand around him, and he turns his large eyes to Deadpool one last time. Go. Save all of existence. Kick your own ass! The Watcher then explodes into cosmic energy, reawakening the nexus of all realities. Rawr! Pandapool says to Deadpool, and the merc nods. You took the words right out of my mouth, Pandapool. We're not gonna let him die for nothing. Somebody's gotta pay for killing all of them, he says as they step through the portal. You and me, Pandapool, we're gonna collect. As they appear in the other world, they find themselves surrounded by Deadpools, but suddenly all of the Deadpools begin to explode and die. Both Pandapool and Deadpool hitting the ground as the carnage happens all around them. And afterwards, all is quiet. On your feet. There is time for cowering later. For now, we have a war to win. Samurai Deadpool tells them as he readies his katana. I am Deadpool, Gurtpool says. And Samurai Pool helps him to his feet as Nightpool points out to King Deadpool's great skyscraper in the distance. Hello, we are ready to lay siege to our enemy's citadel, he tells Deadpool. And Chibipool steps forward. What he's saying is that you're with the good guys now. Deadpool nods as he looks at the building in the distance. Good, bad, we're the ones with the panda. Now let's cut to a damn action montage. So as the good Deadpools cut their way through the city, fighting against the likes of Luchador Deadpool, Sharkpool, and several hundred other nameless Deadpool mashups, with each battle, some of our heroes fall. Grootpool was set ablaze, Chibipool was squashed, Nightpool was blasted by a wizardly Deadpool, and Samurai Pool was stabbed to death, and even Pandapool was eviscerated. Finally, Only the original Deadpool remained, the one from the 616 universe, and he kicks open the doors to King Deadpool's lair, only to find himself finally surrounded by the remains of his Deadpool henchmen. "Welcome, brother. Welcome to the meat church. Come forward and cast aside the bondage of your flesh," King Deadpool calls out, and Deadpool readies his sword. "So you're the guy peeing on everyone's hush puppies? You're the end of the road?" Deadpool asks. But the evil Deadpool just smiles, explaining that both of them are the end of the road. And once we're gone, that's it. It all comes crashing down. Everything dies. Game over, man! He smiles, and they leap at each other, avoiding and blocking blows, while the evil king tries to explain to Deadpool everything that he has been doing, that they are trapped in continuity, endlessly suffering. "I get it! You had a rough life. You know who else had a rough life? Everybody!" he says as he kicks him away, but evil Deadpool explains, "And that's the point! That we are the source. We created this hell, and we've got to be stopped." He reaches down to grab Deadpool, but the merc shoves him away, and the king struggles, but he falls to his knees, telling Deadpool that this is all his fault, that he is the one who creates things. He motions to Deadpool's uniform, pointing out that he was stabbed in the chest with a chainsaw, but his costume is without a scratch. "No, I changed. Didn't I?" Deadpool whispers, but the evil Deadpool shakes his head, explaining that nothing ever changes, that continuity won't allow it. Deadpool leans down, looking at the knife sticking out of the evil Deadpool's chest. "Whoa, you got a problem with the status quo? Mind-numbing realization that nothing's ever going to change? That's how I get girls," Deadpool tells him, and he reaches down, pulling the knife free. "So I want to ask you now, did I stab you in the heart when we were struggling, or did I make that knife appear with the power of my mind?" he says. Deadpool looks at the king, pointing out that he is healing even though he doesn't want to, forcing him to realize that he doesn't want to die. "No," the evil Deadpool gasps, and Deadpool nods as he stands up. "See, for all your zealotry, we're not so different." Evil Deadpool begins to break down, realizing that all of the people that he's killed, and now he can't go through with his plans. But Deadpool nods, explaining that the important part is that he has seen the error of his ways, and he pulls out his sword. "In time, you might even be able to make amends for everything you've done, but you're out of time, bro," he says as he swings his sword, cutting off evil Deadpool's head. "The multiverse may have forgotten you, but not me. You killed my friends, and you don't get a pass," he hisses, reaching into his pocket, pulling out the anti-regeneration acid, pouring it on the body so that he doesn't get back up. Deadpool then turns away from his victory, walking out of the lair. "I did change my clothes, didn't I?" He questions himself quietly, but then he stops, remembering it doesn't matter. Who cares? Last Deadpool standing. Represent! He shouts as he throws up the metal horns, walking away, questioning whether he really is the linchpin of the multiverse. But what he doesn't realize is that another Deadpool is watching him from the shadows. The mismatched evil Deadpool stands up as Deadpool leaves. "Gotta hand it to my boy. You really saved the day. Now I gotta think of something truly evil to inflict on him next." And there you have it, Deadpool kills Deadpool, completing the Deadpool Killogy, as it's called, where you have Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe, Deadpool Killustrated, and now Deadpool kills Deadpool. I wanted to do these reduxes because we've changed our style over the years, and I wanted to have these more fresher versions of Deadpool on the channel because I thought they were more fun to redo them, really kind of go a little more deep dive into it, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like the channel, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so the next time you'll know exactly when our videos come out. We bring you 3 to 7 comic book videos on a weekly basis, and we'd love to have you a part of that. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time right here.